Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Yates. This is my assignment one for ETEC 565M, titled How Mobile Technology Can Automate Formative Assessments. So the outline is simple. It's going to be an introduction to formative assessments, the problems with formative assessments, how mobile technologies can help these problems, an example of one possible technology, i.e. Goformative, and some concluding thoughts and way forward. So an introduction to formative assessments. Formative assessments are anything that is for your students' learning. So it's usually a component of a lesson or something small within a lesson that builds up towards probably a summative assessment. I'm going to basically classify them into two types, classwork and homework. And then we could actually break those two down into, say, for English, because I am an English teacher, vocabulary, speaking and listening, reading comprehension, compositions, and grammar. So the current problems with formative assessments is the process of categorizing and reporting on formative assessments is very manual and requires the teacher to understand how to use spreadsheets, which some teachers aren't all that keen on. For example,
one of the major problems of formative assessments is collecting the data required to report on them. So if you look at my classes, I currently have 5 of them, approximately 138 students. So if you were to click on these, trying to reduce the student names just so you don't see those, but you'll have all the assessment names up here, whether they're classified by classwork and homework, and then the different assessment types. So say vocabulary, higher order thinking, speaking and listening, reading comprehension, compositions, and grammar. If you go down, this is a lot of information that has to be collected, and that's only one class. So if we clicked on another class, you're going to have even more data to be compiled and collected. So all of this information needs to be kept. So that's probably my main issue with formative assessments is the fact that we are required to record them every day, and it does take a lot of our time as teachers.
so the second problem is you've seen all that data on that mark sheet. All that data was in a student's notebook. So copying it from that notebook to Excel could actually decrease the accuracy of the data because it's an additional step and it could provide bad data, which is not a good thing. And then the third problem is the marking of student notebooks requires a lot of patience and physical strength. If you've ever had to bring a class of 30's notebooks to your desk just to go through them and mark a single formative assessment, it's actually quite tedious. So how mobile technology can help? So it doesn't have to be a BYA bring your own device policy. All these things could be provided by the school. I just don't believe too many schools could afford to do that. So with BYOD policies in place, a lot of manual labor involved in formative assessments can be automated. So you can categorize and deliver your assessments through the students' mobile devices. So for example, they could bring their laptop, they could bring a mobile phone, or they could bring a tablet into class. So currently, this is probably what happens in a lot of schools. You've got students writing in individual notebooks. Then you've got a teacher assigning a formative assessment. Then the teacher collects and marks those notebooks. Then the teacher records the marks and returns the notebooks to the students so we can do it all again the next day or the day after. In a BYOD or school provided technology example, all the students have their own mobile devices. So they're on their personal mobile devices or the provided mobile devices. I know some higher end international schools actually require students to purchase, say, an iPad or some form of tablet. So all of these devices are connected via mobile application or website by the school's Wi-Fi. This application displays a formative assessment, and then the teacher can go back, mark that formative assessment, and report and analyze it. So Goformative is one of those technologies. So if you want to go visit the website, it's goformative.com. And this website provides teachers a means to collect formative data via student mobile devices. It can be a tablet, a phone, or a laptop. So the process is actually extremely simple. It's very similar to Google Classrooms. So you create a class, so you can either do this manually or you can import it from Google Classroom. You can then create students, which is 3 different options. So they might already have accounts, or the teacher can create those accounts, or the students can create those accounts. So this is how the teacher would create them, and then provide the students with their username and password. And this is how the students would create it by using a class code. So in this case, LCC BHJ. Then you create a formative assessment. So first you give it a title, then you categorize it. It can only be done by, say, classwork, homework, or a single type. And then you actually create the formative. And you add content. It's actually got a lot of different options. So it could be a video, could be a text block, could be an image. You could embed something or a whiteboard. And then you can add questions. So without purchasing it, the free version allows you to use essay, multiple choice, multiple selection, short answer, show your work, or true and false. Then you assign a formative assessment to a class, which is actually quite simple again. And then you have to mark the assessment and provide feedback. But instead of collecting a bunch of notebooks, you just do it through the website. So it's done here. You would click on the thing, or click on, say, question 4 here, and then give the kid a mark out of whatever the total is. So if it was out of 2 and you got 1, then you give them a 1 out of 2. And the beauty is you can type feedback to the questions right from the interface. So the benefits of Goformative is, number 1, they address all the problems that I found with formative assessments, but they also encourage students to use technology, which is a massive way to increase engagement. The system can mark assessments automatically if you choose those multiple choice, true, false, short answer type questions. It can be done in class, and teacher can view results while the students are completing the task. So this could actually just change the whole lesson. I think this may be a premium feature only, though. I'm not sure you can do it with the free one. So marking assessments done through the website, so no collecting student notebooks. And assessments can be shared with colleagues, and the website has a library of user-created assessments that can be used. So there are some negatives. It is rather expensive for the premium upgrade. It's $15 per month, but you get a lot more things. So analysis and reporting is very limited. I'm very quantitative in the way I use my data. So I like giving individual student reports that break down classwork, homework, and all the different ones like vocabulary. So for me, I would have to probably export everything into Excel and do my own analysis. You can only categorize it by assessments by one type. So you couldn't actually have, say, a classwork that is vocabulary. It can only be done by, say, classwork. You must accept the terms of service. This is pretty much par for the course, but if you look down here, we reserve the rights to disable any user account at any time and in our sole discretion for any or no reason. So they can just cut you off at any time, and they don't really have to provide you any reasoning for it. I'm also quite curious on what the use of that data by the website, like with all the Facebook issues and everything, maybe they are using or selling that data to someone else. Okay, so just some quick concluding thoughts. So these technologies are incredibly helpful and improving rapidly. They also could provide a justification for schools to implement BYOD policies. If used properly, can it really increase student engagement? So if you have any questions, my email is myates@alumni.ubc.ca. Thank you for listening.